right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. It's great to be back. I feel like it's been a really long time. And so I'm really happy to be back. And today is October 13th, 2020. This is episode number 74. Today, we're going to take a look at trait 57 as well as 32. So we're currently in trait 32.1. So we're going to take a look at the potential for continuity, developing instinct through detailed attention. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. So again, it's great to be back, and let's check in with our panel. Again, I'm Karen Sherwood, and let's say hello to Chris. Hey, Chris, welcome.
Hi, how's it going? I'm chuckling when you're like focused, detailed attention, and I got on Facebook Live to take care of it, and I totally got distracted. I was like going through my feed, and now you see what happens to me every single time I get on Facebook. I'm like, oh, that's right, I'm supposed to go to BG5 Live. Oh God help us. Okay, anyway, hi everyone. Welcome.
Great to have you, Chris. Welcome. And Natalie.
Yay, I'm so happy you're back and that we have our gang of four complete again. Yeah.
Yay. Well, welcome, Natalie, and thank you for taking the helm while I was away. So thank you so much for that. And Rob. Hey, Rob.
Hi, welcome back, Karen. I'm glad that you're back, and thank you for not asking me to go on Facebook. I have an open inspiration function, and if I get on there, I'm gonna shiny object down the path. So
developing instincts through detailed attention today. So we're going to take a look at the potential for continuity and developing that instinct through detailed attention. So thank you for being here, Rob and Chris and Natalie, and let's jump in and get started. So I'm going to have Natalie take the helm and move through the the presentation. I'm still recovering with my hand. So one of the things that I wanted to just let you know right away, as we go through the BG5 Live, what we're taking a look at is individual traits. Now, we are taking a look at the traits that are prevalent in the current day. So basically the theme of the day. But one of the things that you can also do to get the most out of our BG5 Live is to see, do you have that particular trait in your design or not? And even if you don't have it in your design, it's important to understand that trait because you may come in contact with others who have that trait. So kind of understanding what you have and what you don't have. We now have a new feature on our website that you can actually download your free personalized chart. So if you go to bg5businessinstitute.com, scroll down, you can see the free career design chart. And then once you put in all of your information, so it is a personalized chart. Once you have put in all of your information, this is my chart, you'll see a little button that says download. So it allows you to download a PDF of your chart. So as you are going through and listening to the BG5 Live, you can take a look at your own design and see if you have any of the traits that we're talking about prevalent in your design. So it will support you in learning more and gaining more information as you go through and listen to the BG5 Live. And our intention is to really bring light and to bring a deeper understanding to not only the trait, but also the quality that happens to be the theme of the day. So it gives you a lot of different perspectives on that individual trait, including the life work, etc. So this is a great way to be able to join us and get even more out of our BG5 Live. So I invite you to download this chart. All right.
Karen, you're so on the roll. You've been resting. This is I can hear it in your voice and the way you present this. It's really cool. Really
cool. Yay. Yeah. Well, I'm very glad to be back.
Yeah.
Back also, and I'm starting to be able to use my hand. It's been a bit of a challenge, not quite as easy as I thought it would be to get back up to speed, but getting there. So it's a good thing. All right, so we have been journeying through duality. We've taken a look at this area of bonding and connecting with others, and I think it's so fascinating. You know, what Natalie has here with October, these are the themes of the survival instinct. I find that so fascinating that in October, you know, it really is focused on the survival instinct. It's in that transition between winter, moving from fall into winter, making sure that we have what we need to survive. And so we took a look at a correction in the 18, right? The instinct for imperfection and correction. We took a look at depth in the 48, the well of instinctual wisdom. Today, we're going to take a look at two traits because we have moved past the 57, but we're going to briefly talk about and touch on trait 57, which is the intuitive insight. This is the deep instinctive attunement to sound. So we'll talk about that. Also, we're going to focus on continuity. We happen to be in continuity right now in the 32, right? We're in the first quality, which is the pioneer. So we're going to take a look at continuity, the instinct for what can be transformed.
Correction, it's the authority. You are a third line pioneer.
Oh, what did I say?
Pioneer.
Oh, right.
But you have them both, 1, 3, so.
Right. So yeah, sorry, the one in continuity, which is the authority. Sorry about that. Thank you for the correction.
I have the 18, an instinct for correction. Yeah. So.
Perfect.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Alrighty. Let's go on.
Alrighty, so, and then we will continue. Again, it's really fascinating that everything that we're taking a look at here in October is really all focused here on the survival instincts, from the values, which we'll take a look at next week, to the game player, which we'll take a look at the week after that, and alertness in the 44. So it's really fascinating. If we take a look at what's happening today, we have a lot of definition today, and it almost makes up the full material way, which is really quite fascinating as well. I always find it fascinating. If we take a look at the 32, if you take a look at what's on the other side of that, the 32, the other side of it is the 42, which is in a sense bringing completion, and the continuity is making sure that, you know, things from the past get carried forward into the future. So kind of an interesting dynamic there. Yeah, you can also see we have the strength of the transmitter. This is also about sales and marketing and the art of the entrepreneur that's there as well as the 5434, right, which is all about ambition. This is about rising up the ladder and the continuity to know what to change and what not to change, what can be transformed and what not to. We also, of course, have the 6124 still there, so we're still looking for that inner truth. A couple other things too. I don't know if you guys talked about this or not, but I just found it fascinating. We have moved into a different environment. We've moved into the environment of the 26 and the 45. So we're taking a look again. The 45 is about education. It's about gathering together. You know, so this energy of you know, moving towards gathering together, and the 26, which is about sales and marketing. So interesting that we're, you know, in this election season now. So there's a lot of focus on sales and marketing, and the tribal leader as well. So just interesting that we're in this cycle, if you will, of elections coming up here in the United States. So let's now take a look, and we'll start. Oh, well, before we do that, I'm just like on a roll. Let me shut up for a moment. Blah. Anything for you, Chris or Natalie or Rob, that you'd like to add here, or anything that shows up? Yeah, the 44 we talked about. We'll be talking about the 44 of alertness here, also part of the survival instinct, part of this stream also.
I think it's interesting, especially this year in the election year. I think, I've been voting for a number of years now. I won't say how many, but a number of elections, let's just say that. And I've had the opportunity to vote for several presidents. And this year, the survival, really this theme of survival, even though I get that every October, this is what we're having, this one seems especially poignant. It really is very heightened right now, especially in the United States, but I think all over the world, with COVID and everything that's going on. But I know for myself, I'm acutely aware of this energy where in the past, I didn't feel it as much. It's a very, very heightened awareness to it this year. So I just think that if anybody else is feeling that way as well, you're not alone. I think that it is. Maybe it also has to do with that. This is the first year in the last 7 years of the 7-year cycle before 2027. And so we are really we're going to see the themes that are coming up are going to be amplified in some way, or even louder and more distinct. I think as we're watching the cross of planning dissolve, and those things that we've taken for granted, or those things that we just thought, oh, this is how it is, and this is how it's going to go, and it's like, oh no, that's not how it is. That's not how it's going to go. So I think we're not alone. Let me just put it that way.
Yep, exactly. I think that's such a great point, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
It really is, like you said, this heightened awareness of this, this survival instinct. And, what we're going to be taking a look at today is this continuity. Like, how do we continue to, move forward, and what do we need to keep, and what do we need to transform? I think is a big question that many of us have in what's coming up, and, even moving into the next year. What do we need to hold on to? What do we need to change, transform, make different? Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anything for you, Rob or Natalie?
Yeah, there's a lot going in my mind, but I'll talk later.
Okay.
Yeah, because yeah. Anyway.
Yes. How about for you, Rob?
Oh, sorry. He did like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, and talking about the survival instinct, and one of the individual traits that is a part of this survival instinct is intuitive clarity. So this is a deep instinctive attunement to sound in the 57. So your intuitive insight provides clarity to penetrate to the core of what's taking place around you. And the right ear, so this represents the right ear, this is the right ear of hearing in the now, right? This is being very present. This is about, this is about survival. So if you think about it, if you take a look at animals, right? And their ears, are very attuned to sound, so if they hear danger, right, they can protect themselves. So this is the right ear of hearing in the now. And that right ear is deeply, again, it's deeply acoustic, and it's very sensitive to the tone it picks up. Not only that, it's very sensitive to what is truth or what is lies. So, it's, in a sense, this 57 also gives you this ability to also kind of hear between the lines, like what is really being said beyond just the words, right? It's that penetrating to the core. You can hear it at a very, very, deep level. Again, not just what's being said on the surface, but being able to hear the deeper nuances or tones of what's really happening. Is there more there? Or is that it?
No.
Oh,
don't you see?
Oh, there we go. Yeah. There we go. Sorry, I missed it. It registers. It registers what is safe, what is healthy, and what is good for you or not. So again, just like I was, talking with animals, being very attuned to, does this sound correct? Does it sound healthy? Am I going to be in danger? And it's rooted in the deepest of all fears. This is your fear for survival. This is the fear for tomorrow, because ultimately, you know, survival is, are you going to live another day, right? So when we're taking a look at those survival instincts, so this represents the fear of tomorrow. It represents the fear of the future. So protecting yourself to make sure that, again, you survive another day.
Okay, all of those in the house that have the right ear, show your right ear. Come on, guys, come on.
Oh, which one's my right ear? There we go.
Because we all have it.
Oh, we all have it.
We all have it.
Yeah. And this
Isn't that a prerequisite?
And this is part of my unconscious core essence. So, you know, so it really is. I had my design date, or my design birth date on 10/10/20, which I thought was pretty cool. So
yeah. So just scrolling through, both myself and Karen have it in our life work, right? So so quite strong. And both Chris and also Rob have it as a strength. Have it as part of a strength. So for all of us, this is quite, you know, we can probably all really speak to what this does.
Yeah.
For us. Let me just scroll back to, this one. So
exactly. Well, do you want to share how it shows up for you? I'd love to hear Rob and Chris and Natalie, you know, how this 57 shows up for you.
Well, it is interesting because this intuition, this instinctive attunement, it is not a brain thing. It's not a mind thing. So what happens to me often is when I have students in class or when I have a client, I actually find myself going like this, like trying to literally, you know, tune into what they say, even if I'm, you know, teaching with computer, I even go like this. It's just so funny. But that's one thing. But then the other thing is that when you are really attuned and just intuitively, you know, you just share what you hear in between the lines, right? And when I do that, it's like usually spot on, and I don't even know where I get it from. The things come out of my mouth, and I go like, well, I think something like, you know, I kind of got the feeling that you're saying this or that, or the underlying feeling that da da da, and yeah, it's something you could, yeah, that really helps me in my work at least, and yeah, and also for myself, of course, but that's my take for now, and yeah.
Yeah, I love what you said. It's not a mind thing. I have that experience too, that, you know, and especially when I'm working with clients or when students ask questions, you know, this is also part of, you know, part of my life work theme as well, right? It's penetrating to the core. So my life work theme is penetration. It's being able to get that sort of deeper layer to it, or hear a deeper layer of it. So when people ask questions, or when I'm working with a client, listening to what they're saying, listening to their tone, listening to how they're saying things, I can pick up things that I can't even describe where I get them from. Sometimes I try to demonstrate, you know, doing a session, for example, in class, and it's so different than when I'm actually doing a session, because when I'm actually doing a session, I hear those subtleties that I then take in and then utilize. That's hard to demonstrate unless you're actually working with someone directly. That was very fascinating. How about for you, Chris?
Well, it's interesting because I'm the only one who has it conscious. So I'm listening to the way you're describing it, and I definitely get what you're talking about. So it's part of my strength, and I have it consciously. So when I will literally, when we're all talking about the right ear, and Natalie, I do the same thing, especially because we have students from all around the world, and while everybody speaks English that I'm teaching, not everybody has, there's some varying degrees of how thick someone's accent is. And so what happens is that when I'm listening to someone, I will close my eyes and I will put my right ear to the computer. I'll close it, go like this, and I will close my eyes so I have it's all auditory. I close out everything. And then I can hear, it's almost like I can make my brain translate that. It's like I can hear literally through both languages, even though I don't speak the language they're talking about, they're speaking, or the accent that they have. I can hear, and I can attune myself to hear intuitively exactly what they're asking, even if I can't understand it. And I'll have other people go, what did they just say? I'm like, oh, okay, so this is what you're asking. Blah, 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 blah. And they go, yeah, that's it. That's what I'm asking. And it's like, yeah. And so I can consciously do that, but I tune out the other senses. And yeah. And it's what I'm here to communicate. So it's not only what I communicate, it's how I communicate. It is the topic that I communicate. It's the way I communicate. It's like everything about my communication is intuitive. And so that is something that I really see that. But,
Wow. That's really powerful, Chris. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
How about for you, Rob? So Chris has the strength of power. You have, the strength really of that intuitive insight in the now, right? Well, actually you have all of the strengths because you have all of integration defined. So how does it work for you?
It's been very interesting to look back and reflect on this. It's much like Natalie said, it's definitely not mental. In fact, when this is in action for me, a lot of the times I literally can't find it's almost like let me just give you an example. Like, let's say I'm in a situation and I hear this, just internal, like in my own space, right? It's time to move on. Well, if I'm involved with a group of people and I'm jetting or leaving or whatever, and they're like, what happened? Where's he going? Sometimes I can't create the mental excuse or mental reason to help others understand why I'm out, right? Or if it's an right? Does that make sense? Am I articulating this well?
Yeah.
So, and it's like, so I'll tell you, the 57 really comes in for me a lot when I'm meeting new people. It does. It's oftentimes it uses my tribal sounds. It's or And the thing about this is that, and this is just me personally, this is not in the texts anywhere, and if it is, this is by accident, but it's almost as if I don't really owe anybody that mental explanation. It's a survival thing, right? Like a cheetah wouldn't stop and go, hey, there's a big thing coming after me and I need to take off and right? I mean, so for me, it's very much that same way where it's just, And like when I meet a new person, someone may like, I thought he was cool, or I thought she was cool, or I can't, and I'm just like, well, for me, it's
Yeah. I hear you, Rob. I'm the same way. It is like, if I hear someone's voice, I know immediately. I'm like, bullshit. Excuse me. And then I'm out. I'm like, nope, I won't hear anything else. I won't. It's like, it's so immediate. And
and so interestingly, so going back to the example of meeting somebody, a couple years ago, we were at a wedding, a friend's wedding, and we were meeting one of our high-level clients who is this big, cool CEO and all this. And I met them and I was like, And my wife, she's an advisor. And so what was interesting is, the advisors, their nonverbal presence operates in a very peculiar way. It literally can penetrate right into the space of another, right? Now that sounds strange, but that's true, right? And in that way, it can be a survival thing. And she, my wife was always like, I've always kind of gotten the, as well. So that's cool, Rob, that you got that. And for me, it was, right when I shook the person's hand, it was,
Yeah. Yep. And if you took a look at that slide, it's kind of, there's a BS detector, right? Within the 57, you can tell what is truth, what is lie, what is accurate, what is not accurate. You know, you can, people can't, you can't hide, if you will, or can't BS their way, because you can smell it, you can taste it, you can hear it, right?
Yep.
And again, this is particularly with sound. So this is really about hearing it. And it's the survival of being able to hear it in the tone or what they say.
Totally. And, the other point I'll make for those of you that are wanting to learn more about this trait in specific is that it's situational, right? So you hear this once, so you got to be listening.
Yes. Yes. And that's one of the things about instincts. It's very subtle, right? And if you're not paying attention, if you're not present in the now, you may not hear it. You may miss it. It may get overridden by something else. Yeah. Beautiful. I love this trait.
Me too. I love this trait. It is, I love it. Every day. I mean, it's such a, yeah.
It's one of my favorites. All right. Well, let's take a look at what the trait is for today. So today, is there something else?
We're going, but I need to jump. Yes, there we go.
There we go. So let's take a look at the 32. Now, the 32 is about continuity. It's the instinct for what can be transformed or what should not be transformed to provide continuity moving forward. So 32 is about recognizing that growth and change is inevitable. Right? So right now we're in this state, things are growing, things are changing, we're not quite certain. But this is about seeking a balance between what is working, right? Conservatism, and taking risks. This is the fear of failure. So what's behind this? We took a look at, right, the fear of the future. Here we have the fear of failure that is accompanying transformation and change. So when there's transformation and change, right, if you change everything, right, it can be really disorienting. So we need some continuity to make sure that as we transform, there's still some foundation, there's still some basics that we can, in a sense, sort of count on. This is the ability to adapt while also maintaining your true nature, right? It's the continuity of your true nature while you're shifting, changing, and adapting. This is also recognizing and to recognize and bring attention to those who have the skill or education to move up in the world, and can also put the brakes on runaway ambition as well. This is also in OC 16. This is the personnel manager. So this is the personnel manager on the other side, right, is ambition and can recognize who can move up the ladder, right? Or, who can get the promotion or who should be hired or not. And when attuned to your instincts, your wisdom will emerge to let go of. And remember, the survival instinct, the shadow of it is holding on to things that are no longer good for you. But when you're in tune to your instincts, your wisdom will emerge to let go of or to transform what doesn't work and retain that which does work. So in essence, like I was talking about on the other side of it, right, we have the wrapping up or the completion of a cycle. When you complete a cycle, it's kind of letting, and Chris has talked about this before, right? It's letting everything go, but taking what the lessons are, right? So in a sense, you're letting go of the experience, but transforming things based on the lessons that you learned. So that brings forth this continuity of moving forward into the future. Now, part of why, part of the fear, remember the fear is the fear of failure. This is also very tribal. So it's a fear for the survival of the tribe. This is also why it's the personnel manager, right? Because what is, if we take a look at it from the business perspective, the personnel manager is what brings in a sense, new blood, new people into the organization to make sure that, there are new ideas, there are new things, there's new, a new blood coming into the tribe, so that it doesn't fail. Because if you are not, if you have the same personnel, but everybody, let's say nobody knows how to use computers, right? In that transition, when things were changing, people had to learn how to utilize computers. You need to have computer skills nowadays, right? But if you had a company that didn't want to use computers, they probably are no longer in existence anymore, because everyone uses computers nowadays. So again, you have to constantly transform as a business, but you need to also maintain that continuity. So it's always that balance. A really interesting trait. How about for you, Rob or Chris or Natalie? Anything that you would like to add here?
So Karen, we had this conversation just before this in our BG5 certification semester 3 class. And as you were going through this, so by the way, I don't possess this trait, but that's okay, because I see its application in the world. And right now, the timing that we're in, it's like perfect. This is a perfect time to recognize what can be transformed, right? From a business perspective, I'm sure that all leaders, mid-management and higher, are looking at what no longer works, what did work, right? And they're jockeying this all the time. And then this is perfect timing. Like, I can't think of a better time, honestly, where it's now time for those who do have the skills and education to move up, right? The stage has been set. The cameras are on. The director is ready, right? And it's time to go. But then also, you look at putting the brakes on runaway ambition. I can think of many different examples there. One just off the top of my head is, the professional politician. Maybe it's time for some of them to go and bring in the new people who have the skills and education, right?
Yep.
And usher in something new. That's my take on it.
Yeah. Beautiful. How about for you, Chris?
I don't have this one either, but one of the things that I'm aware of, and I don't know if it's just happening this way, but we have a new moon at the end of this week in a couple days. And so right now, at this time, it's a time to look at what are we going to let go of? What are we letting go of that it does not need to continue on with us? So not only do we have trait 32 happening right now, it's also leading us towards this new moon in a couple of days. And so I think, like Rob, there's businesses on a larger scale, and even in countries and all around the world, we're looking at, okay, what has worked, what hasn't worked, obviously, like Rob was just saying, but also on a personal level. The timing right now is really, you may find yourself this week looking at, okay, what do I want to keep doing? What's working? What's been working? What do I want to keep doing? What feels like there's still life there? That feels like there's still energy there? What do I still have some ambition for, or some drive towards, fuel towards that? And then also where it's like, not so much. I don't have any more energy for that, or it doesn't feel like that's where I'm going. So anyway, you might find that some of us may be in that question.
Yeah. Really, really, really great, Chris. And tying it into, again, especially if you have the survival instinct undefined, right? Because this trait is defined, it's going to have us look at what is there to let go of, just like Chris was saying. Yep, exactly. And, what are we holding on to that's no longer good for us? How about for you, Natalie?
I do have the trait.
You do have it. You have it twice.
I have it twice. And it's interesting because I am not, and have not, like, quote unquote, been in all my life afraid of change. It's actually something I like. and you know that the saying there's only one constant, which is change, right? Or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, people may find me unusual in that sense. I have people like telling me recently this a lot. But it is interesting time, and it is not only of what to let go of, but also how to transform continuity. So keeping what may serve, but maybe in a different way, or etc. So I'm not of let's just throw away everything. But then we have a saying in Dutch, I don't know why it's like this, but then you throw away the baby with the bathwater. I don't know why we have a saying like that.
Yeah, we have the same saying.
We say that too.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, so it's not about that, right? So just see what different clothes you can put on or whatever, right? Or how you can, utilize what is still worthwhile. And it's interesting because so it is a change, but it is not a abrupt change kind of thing.
Yes.
Right. And I don't even know how to express it. So maybe you can reflect on how I do this, like in the Institute with you. We talk about this kind of theme all the time because we have to adapt. We have to, with our new website, for instance, and then how to, use what is there and then maybe do it something different. But in today's world where we have now, actually here in the Netherlands, we just found out we're going to go into a semi-lockdown right now. So it's quite fascinating.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's quite fascinating what is happening. But, we've been through this. We're going through it. Well, we actually haven't been through a like lockdown kind of thingy. So it's and then, continuing on and today on the radio, it was terrible to hear like the restaurant owners, etc. And but to be able to transform. So I've said this before here, like we will have a different world, and not like I'm not talking about the new normal, but about a new way of doing business, a new way of, I like your example also, Chris, and what you just brought up with the 7-year cycles. And we're literally just, really starting the big shift.
Yes.
And big shift is not going in with a toothpick to demolish a big building. You do it with a wrecking ball. And that is what is happening. And so, yes, it's terrible. And it my heart is like, oh my God, all those small businesses, all those restaurant owners, all those, now we're really going to see a lot of, it's going to be bad. But from that, we will get this change, this true change, keeping what serves and transforming what can be different, better, in a sense, to be able to survive, to continue in this world.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not easy, but it is what we are going through. And just knowing from design, it's also quote unquote meant to, not literally with COVID and lockdowns, but it's meant to be something. And now we see what it is in this last 7-year cycle, starting this.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like what Rob was saying, and it kind of being that perfect storm, because businesses are struggling. You're saying that there's a lockdown in all of in the Netherlands now, and how it's going to affect all the small businesses. This is something that has been a worldwide challenge, right, with all of the lockdowns and everything else. So it's knowing this information can also help as well. Yeah. And
can I say
yeah,
something?
go ahead.
So one of the things also to be aware of is we're over a little bit more. It's not in the logical circuitry but we are not in the emotions. We are over in survival. So there is, what's interesting is I was listening to Natalie, and it's like our hearts are breaking, right? And yet at the same time, you know, I can almost hear it's sort of like, and this is necessary to take us into the future. Now, someone might say, well, that sounds like a spiritual override. And you know, where you kind of talk, you know, sort of override, well, it's all in the bigger picture. And it's what we're talking about, is that it's not that. We're saying there's a logic to this very illogical, very sort of scary emotional time. There is a logic that's built into it. There is, you know, and this is, so anyway, we've been talking about that in our foundation course. And so I just wanted to bring that in again, even though this isn't our logical sharing or collective circuitry, it's not emotional. Yes. And so anyway, that's something I just want to point out also.
Yeah. Brilliant, Chris. Yeah. Thank you. You know, and we happen to be in trait, or we happen to be in quality 1 right now, and the quality 1 is conservation, right? If we take a look at the, and remember, quality 1 is the authority, and the elevation is the potential to develop the instinct through detailed attention to the process. It's a life-sustaining respect and attention to all aspects of the process. Right. So in a sense, we're conserving our energy and then paying attention to what the details are in this process. And if we take a look at the challenge, it's the fear of lack of potential and the corresponding lack of attention and the uncontrollable urge to bypass essentials, which inevitably leads to the disruption of continuity. Right. So it's kind of paying attention to, and that's where we are right now, paying attention to what are those things that we need to, the details of what do we need versus what can we let go of, right? This is the foundation. So again, really taking a look at, you know, what can we, the life-sustaining respect and attention to all aspects of the process, you know, through change and transition.
Yeah, so the foundation of continuity, right? And what brings the potential of continuity is this, you know, attention to all the aspects. But so what I was saying, what I was just saying about the 32, right? This is what it is based on. That's where the potential comes from, you know, the instinct to see the process in kind of a bigger picture with all the details is the foundation to be able to continue into the future and moving forward with the world.
Right.
So, and you don't have to have all the answers yet, right now, because we don't know. But it is just, you know, being aware. Because if you don't, then you overlook it, and you know, you will, in essence, kind of create a chaos and not the opposite. Yeah, right. The discontinuity or
Right, exactly. Right, and it's you know, again, it's not logical, but it's not emotional, and so there is this aspect of the details, right? It's the kind of underlying, you know, details of what is there. Beautiful. Anything additional, Rob or Chris, that you would like to add?
No, I'm all set.
All right, and let's go ahead to the next slide here. And Dwight D Eisenhower, so the 34th president of the United States, has the 32-1 as his core essence. So the life work theme is this material world. You know, so this is what we've been, you know, this continuity also in the material world, right? The Maya, your inner knowing and the use of details guide your ability to properly evaluate and inspire material development, maturation, and expansion. So Dwight D Eisenhower was an American politician and soldier who served as the 34th President of the United States from 1953 to 1961. And during World War II, he became a 5-star general in the Army and served as the Supreme Commander of the Allied Expeditionary Force in Europe as well. So again, kind of taking a look at, again, it's very material. This, I think I was talking about this in the in my in my certification course, talking about the penta being very material as well. Right. So, but it's this inner knowing and this use of a detail to guide your ability to evaluate and inspire, again, taking a look at what you can hold on to and what you can let go of. So I find that quite fascinating as well. Anything for Natalie, Chris, or Rob that you would like to add?
So yeah, he's definitely a notable as a president for sure. What a pivotal time to live your life work. It's always coming down to timing, it seems like. He's also from Denison, Texas, which is north of Dallas, about 45 minutes. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So he's kind of your neighbor, like, or he was, or kind of your neighbor.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. All right. Is there any questions or any comments from either Facebook or from our BG5 Live Zoom room?
We have a question in our chat room with regards to trait 57.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, as a manifesting generator, which is an express builder, they have the 3420 strength, but not trait 57. However, they can hear the acoustics of their voice. If they don't have trait 57, then how do we guesstimate that they could do that?
Well, it is still the individual knowing. Am I correct now? The individual stream. So it is the acoustic. So the 3420 of charisma. Strength of charisma is also very acoustic, right? And yeah, into action. But you have this. So any trait, any quality of a trait flows through the entire circuitry, so to say, right? And the whole circuitry is acoustic. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
So, but maybe you do not have exactly the right ear acoustic kind of way, right? But yeah. So the tone of voice, yes.
Yeah, and since you have both of those activated as well, it can be, depending on your design, it could potentially be, a shadow too, especially if it happens to be a bridging trait. I don't know if it is or not, but there's the potential there for it to be there. And there's going to be more pressure for you on the 57 as well, right? Because you have the other traits defined. But I think, Natalie was spot on. It really is that acoustic nature is part of the individual circuitry. So having that individual circuitry brings with it, that's part of what genetic continuity is all about, is that, again, there's that theme that goes through all of the, what?
No, that's the word I was looking for. But
oh,
yeah.
Genetic continuity. Yeah. That's what flows through, the entire circuitry. So yeah, great question.
All righty. Well, we almost did an hour already.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, let's wrap everything up. So again, check out our website. You can get not only a free report, but you can now also download your chart as well. So you can follow us along on BG5 Live. And you can also check out BG5 Live if you want to see what the theme is for the day. And you can also watch our past episodes in the free resource library as well. We have classes that are coming up in January. So January is going to be the next time that we're going to be starting our classes. So you may want to check out what classes are coming up. We invite you to explore them. We'll have first class free for the foundation course, and we have a certification course that's starting as well in January. So we invite you to join us. Check us out. All right, so let's wrap everything up. And what I'd love to hear from each of you on our panel is, because we're just starting with the 32, what should people pay attention to this week? Because we're going, that 32, that continuity is going to be around, if you will, for the next week. So what should people be aware of or pay attention to? Because again, if you don't have it defined, you know, you're going to really feel it during this week as well. So Chris, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. I'll just go back to what I said earlier around the new moon coming up, and just the theme that's happening right now as we come into it is we're in the process of evaluating it. And trait 32 is evaluating what, you know, we want to continue with, and what can we, it's ripe, it's fallen off the tree, let it lay there and walk away, or pick it up for the harvest and carry it into the future. So we're really in that. So have some fun with that this week. And, you know, it's making room for what's new, and you can always bring something from the past into the future with you. But, you know, the more you polish it off and clean off the parts that you don't really need anymore, the swifter your creation is moving forward. So
I love that. And I love that analogy too. You know, I hadn't really thought of it in that way, but if we take a look at fall, right? What is fall? Fall is all about the trees, the keeping, right? What the trunk, keeping the branches, but letting go of all of the leaves. And so, you know, the survival instinct of letting go is really representative of what, you know, October is all about. I love that analogy. That's
letting go of the
Chris.
fruit, right?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
How about for you, Natalie?
Yeah. Oh, I just love Chris's analogies always. I wasn't digesting it, but so if you don't have it defined, and if you do not have a defined survival instinct, you may really be aware of this fear of failure when letting go of stuff, and that may be a theme coming up, right? In that you feel this pressure into the shadow side of it. So just be aware of that, and if you have a fear, you know, of failure, either through transforming something or letting go of something, breathe through and follow your decision-making strategy again. We haven't mentioned that today. Follow your decision-making strategy to know if it's correct for you or not, and trust. It's instinct, so you cannot mentally make sense of it.
Yeah, beautifully said, Natalie. And how about for you, Rob?
So for me, I will be following Chris's counsel. Chris, I thought that you put that so eloquently, so I don't have anything else to add.
Beautiful. And I agree. You know, just take a look at, again, what is there that is consistent, that, you know, that is worth holding on to, and what is there to let go of. And as Natalie said, you know, also be aware of that fear of failure coming up this week as well. Well, beautiful. Excellent. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Like I said, it's really fun to be back, and we will see you all next week. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.